What's up, house groups? It's good to be back. I hope all of you had a great spring break last week. So last summer, I was trying to eat healthy because my arm was in a brace, so I couldn't run or lift or anything. And I am firmly middle-aged at this point, so staying healthy is a whole lot harder than it used to be when it just happened. But one night, my family was out of town, and I was driving home from a meeting, and I drove past Sully's Irish Pub. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but Sully's has comfortably the best cheese curds in the city. They're giant, and the cheese is from Picket Fence Creamery in Woodward. I could go on. You gotta try them. Anyways, I wasn't even hungry, but the sight of Sully's made me want some curds. And I thought, nah, Mike, you don't need that stuff. You're trying to not do this. But, I mean, you do need a little bit of gas. You can fill up at the Hy-Vee gas station next door to Sully's. Just, think about it. So I pulled in, filled up my car, and decided, all right, I'm just going to get an order real quick. I'll eat half of it. I'll save half for tomorrow. And then I went in and I grabbed some free popcorn to keep me entertained while I was waiting. And then I sat down, and before I knew it, when the waitress came over, the words, yeah, can I have an order of cheese curds? And then I'll take some Parmesan garlic jalapeno wings too. Shot out of my mouth. And then the order came to my table, and I ate almost all of it. And then I was dehydrated for 3 days from eating all the salt involved in wings, cheese curds, and popcorn. But also, I just felt sick to my stomach because I had crammed an insane amount of greasy food all up in there. It was like a happy sort of sick because it was delicious. But too much. It's too much. And here's the point. The stakes were ultimately pretty low for me in making that bad choice. It didn't help me stay in shape, made me feel pretty ill for a night, but that's about it. In life, though, I think that story is a great example of the pattern that causes all of us a whole lot of pain and destruction. And it's a pattern we see played out repeatedly in the life of Samson, never more dramatically than in his encounter with Delilah that Jamie preached about this week. He saw a beautiful woman who he knew he shouldn't have been with, but he wanted her. And so he thought about her, and then he thought about her some more. And a few weeks ago, we talked about how Samson fell victim to this dangerous thought pattern of, I want it, I deserve it, I can handle it. And so Samson went to Gaza, just for the journey. I mean, Gaza was only a casual 25-mile walk from his home. The guy was thinking, and he walked a marathon just to look at her some more. And then he hooked up with her, and after that, she kept trying to figure out what made him so strong, and multiple times he lied to her, and she took the lie and ran with it, so he absolutely should have seen it coming that she was trying to get him captured. He would have had to be the dumbest man alive not to realize exactly what she was doing, but he wanted her to love him, and she kept bugging him, and he felt pretty strong, and so he got stupid, and he told her the truth, and it ended up destroying him. She shaved his head, and his supernatural strength disappeared. And the Philistines captured him, gouged out his eyes, and made him a slave. It's a dramatic story, but you guys, I think we do the same thing. I did it on a small scale with Sully's cheese curds. Samson did it on a massive scale with Delilah. And so often, all of us do it, and the consequences land somewhere in between. We fall victim to a cycle that goes like this: seeing, seduction, small steps, stupidity, and sin. We see something and we decide, well, I kind of want it, even though I shouldn't want it, but I want it. And then we get seduced by the thought. We just entertain those desires in our mind. And then we don't jump right in with both feet. We just take small steps toward it. We're not fully embracing it. We're just getting nearer and nearer. And then we get stupid and justify it or decide we can handle it. And then it ensnares us and we sin. Seeing, seduction, small steps, stupidity, sin. And I wonder, how has that played out in your life? How's it playing out right now? Where are you taking small steps towards sin? It's worth asking, because it's really easy to lose sight of who God says we were made to be when we keep taking small steps in the wrong direction. And that's Samson's legacy. He ultimately walked away from his purpose because he took his eyes off God. And the same danger lurks for you and me. It's just hard to see it sometimes. It's difficult to recognize how dangerous the games we play really are when we're in the middle of playing them. And it's hard not to get caught up believing in our own gifts and our own strength. I do this all the time. And then we suffer for it because we haven't been connected enough to the true source of our strength. As Jamie pointed out on Sunday, Samson ultimately made the choice to tell Delilah about his hair because he'd come to the point where he didn't think it mattered. He was pretty sure he was strong all on his own. After all, the Nazirite vow had 3 parts: no grapes, no dead stuff, no haircuts. And he'd already broken the first 2, but he was still strong. So clearly he was just strong, right? Wrong. And I wonder for all of us, if we're not more like him than we want to admit. I know in my own life, I find myself more like him than I want to admit. I mean, like, functionally, by this point in the story, Samson had totally abandoned the life of a Nazirite and forgotten that his connection to God was the big idea of his whole story and the thing that made him strong. But on the outside, he still looked the part, right? If you saw him coming along and he had that scraggly long hair and beard, he appeared on the outside like he was still living it. He looked apart, he wasn't living, because seeing seduction, small steps, stupidity, and sin had gotten a hold of him completely. And there are a lot of us who are really good at that. We've been in the churchy world so long, we know how to keep up appearances on the outside, to look the part, to seem like everyone around us, like we're chasing Jesus and living into God's purpose for us. But underneath the veneer of holiness, I think some of us have lost our strength because we've neglected our connection to the one who makes us strong. And we've lost sight of his purpose for our lives because we've slowly taken small steps in the wrong direction. And my prayer tonight is that we be honest with ourselves and with each other about the spaces where that's happening, so that we can step back into the lives God dreamed us up to live and build our lives on the foundation of his strength. Before we experience what Samson did, a destruction that hurt not just him, but everyone around him. You guys, God has a purpose for you, and it's found in connection with him.